I have a
Warp World
I have
and the Great Aurora.
a
Warped Aurora deck. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and you can pre-order all of the Strixhaven cards you need right now by heading over to cardkingdom.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And this week, we have a bit of an Against the Odds 2-for-1. Last week on our poll, it was Warp World and the Great Aurora coming in 1 and 2. The cards kind of work pretty well together, so we are playing both today. So let's talk about our Warped Aurora deck. Jump into some games, see it in action. So here is our Warped Aurora deck, and it's built around Warp World and the Great Aurora, which are similar, but they work a little bit differently. Warp World, 8 mana, each player shuffles all their permanents into the library, then you reveal that many cards from your library, and you put all artifacts, creatures, lands, and enchantments onto the battlefield. The rest go to the bottom of your library. So essentially, wants you to have a lot of permanents on the battlefield and be playing a lot of permanents, because the more permanents you play, the more you can put into play with it. The Great Aurora makes you shuffle all your permanents and your hand into your library, and then you draw that many cards. Each player can put any number of land cards on the battlefield, so you only get your lands into play. The other twist is Great Aurora, it lets you keep your non-permanents, non-lands in hand rather than putting them to the bottom of the library. So while these cards work a little bit differently, they're kind of the same as far as a payoff. And what we want to do to make these cards work is, number one, ramp into them. Number two, our deck is full of permanents that put multiple permanents on the battlefield. And that's the easiest way to break the symmetry of these cards. If you think about a normal game, if we just go, land go, land go, land go, our opponent's doing the same thing. When we Warp World the Great Aurora, our opponent's going to have 8 permanents on the battlefield. We're going to have 8 permanents on the battlefield. I don't even think we benefit from that, or there's definitely a big chance that we don't benefit from it. On the other hand, if we can put a bunch of things into play that put multiple things into play, then we should have like twice as many permanents as our opponent when we Warp World the Great Aurora, which means we will benefit way, way more. And while one of these cards is usually really good and sometimes wins the game, if we can chain 2 of them together, which is really easy to do, especially playing both of them, it usually just wins the game. Like, our opponent's going to be down to like a couple of permanents. We're going to have a ridiculous board. So how do we actually make this happen? First off, we just got some turn 1 ramp. Utopia's Brawl, Arboreal Grazer, getting us up to 3 mana, hopefully, Arboreal Grazer, on turn number 2, and that gets us to even more ramp. We have Wood Elves, Mulvaney, Acid Moss, Golos, Primeval Titan, and these are kind of our key cards, because these are ramp spells that put 2 permanents into play. Wood Elves gives us a 1/1 and also a land. Mulvaney, Acid Moss, technically we only get 1 permanent, but we put our opponent down a permanent by blowing up a land, so it still shifts the math, breaks the symmetry at Warp World Great Aurora. Golos, of course, a body and a land, and maybe spinning into more bodies and more lands at Great Auroras and Warp Worlds. Primeval Titan, a body and 2 lands. So along with Rampius into Warp World Great Aurora, these cards also break this symmetry naturally by putting multiple things into play. We also have a couple of utility cards. Eternal Witness can help us loop Warp World. If we hit a Eternal Witness, along with all of our other stuff with Warp World, Eternal Witness gets back Warp World. We can do it again and again. The second one is the one that is really devastating. Tireless Tracker can put a ton of permanents into play. We can either just play this on turn 2 or turn 3 and play our ramp spells and make a bunch of clues, and all those clues are permanents, so it's further breaking the symmetry of Great Aurora or Warp World, or we can Warp World into Tireless Tracker and also a bunch of lands, which is going to make a ridiculous amount of clues and make it so the second Warp World of Great Aurora is pretty much putting our deck into play, while our opponent's pretty much not putting anything into play. Otherwise, in our mana base, Colony Garden, a land that makes a 0/1 token, so 2 permanents, 1 card, breaking the symmetry. Cavern to make like Primeval Titan or Golos uncountable. Busheju to make our Warp World Great Aurora uncountable. World Tree to find with Golos to spin Golos. Blast Zone removal. Field of Ruined Tron, a bunch of mana fixing. In the sideboard, the main theme is everything's a permanent except for Veil of Summer, which is just necessary to resolve our Warped Worlds and our Great Auroras against counterspell decks. But otherwise, we're trying to do everything with permanents permanents rather than spells because our permanents will be on the battlefield and up our count for the Great Aurora in our Warp Worlds. So Choke for blue decks, Bone Crusher is our Lightning Bolt as a permanent, Corsair of Crewfix, a little bit of Life Gain against aggro, Damping Sphere, Soul Guide Lantern for combo decks, and that is Warped Aurora for Modern. That's our Against Odds deck for this week. So let's jump into it, see if we can warp some Auroras, get some flawless victories, shuffle everything in, break the symmetry. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap up. All right, Against Odds time. We are Warp Worlding in Modern. Also, Great Aurora-ing. Opponent, Loris, I see. Well, we will Windswept Heath, crack Windswept Heath, get a Forest and Arboreal Grazer, put a Colony Garden into play. Well, if our opponent's playing a counterspell deck, having our Cavern is probably a good thing. Opponent untaps, Creeping Tarpus, so definitely a counterspell deck. Opponent passes. Well, Utopia Sprawl on red, Forest, Wood Elves. Get a Stomping Grounds, tapped. I mean, we're doing a nice job of ramping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pass the turn. So we would like a Golos or Primeval Titan primarily, because they will give us, they can be uncounterable, and that can get Beseju, which will make our Warp World uncounterable, and then win us the game? Well, get in with Wood Elves, pass the turn. We got the manas. Can we find a way to resolve our big things? That's the question. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. It looks like we have a lot of creatures on the battlefield, but really, we have one power somehow. Opponent's going to Cooligan's Command. Well, we will discard a Stomping Grounds, untaps, plays a land, untapped. I'll play Cavern on, I guess, Giant. Oh, it's tough. It would be nice if we could wait, but we don't really have the option to wait. It would be nice if we could wait and see if we draw a Golos or a Primeval Titan first. Opponent untaps. Passes. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess we guessed wrong. Opponent untaps. Wow. Velky. Okay. Well, I guess we should have cast the Golos. Takes the Golos. Opponent passes. Arboreal Grazer. For literally 0 value. Pass the turn. Oh, that is so brutal. I don't, maybe we should have held on to the Cavern for another turn. But we really need to make our land drops to get to our big things. Very awkward. Opponent fatal pushes a Grazer, draws a land, and goes attacking. Well, we block, untap, blast zone, pass the turn. Bad news is this means our opponent can turn their Valky into a Golos. I mean, I guess they can't actually spin it, but opponent, more fatal pushes, cracks the Polluted Delta, gets a Steam Vents, goes to combat, gets in for 2, yeah, hits us. Well, we will take up blast zone, untap. Yeah, I guess we passed the turn. So what we need to try to do... Okay, Snapcaster for Cooligan's Command. Well, I guess we just blast zone. Kill the Velky, kill the Snapcaster, get back our Golos. Opponent kills a plant. We will discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll discard the Great Aurora for now. Alright. Still wish this was on Scout. If this was on Scout, we'd be in such sweet shape. Opponent, Mishra's Bauble. Cracks the Bauble, takes a peek, and passes. Draws a card. No, play the land, play Golos. We don't get mana leaked. Wow, it actually resolves. Okay. Well, in that case, we are taking Beseju, passing the turn. And now our opponent needs to get this Warp World out of our hand this turn. Because if they don't... we're going to resolve Warp World, and we are going to win. Opponent. Better find your Thought Seizes. Better find them. The nice thing is, now that we got this set up, wow, opponent is really good at drawing Cooligan's commands. The nice thing about this is now that we got this set up, for the rest of the game, Warp World is going to be lethal off the top. So even if our opponent finds a way out of this, which looks like no, they're going to Snapcaster Cooligan's command. They should have done this earlier, though. Didn't they know about the Warp World or no? I feel like they did. They're going to get back Velky. We discarded Wood Elves. Well, opponent, that was a good attempt. We will float all of our mana, Warp World, and see what happens. Well, opponent did hit double Snapcaster, which I guess is something. Puts their lands into play untapped. Good news is we get a bunch of triggers. And we got our Beseiju back for the future. Opponent. Not gonna go for the Fatal Push. This also puts our opponent way away from being able to actually cast Velkia's Tibalt. Well, Field of Ruin. Lightning Bolt's a Grazer. Yeah. I mean, we're just doing this to get more clues. Get a Mountain. Alright, so we get clues for days. We lose the tracker. And now we start cracking clues to try to find more Great Auroras and Warp Worlds. Primeval Titan. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta. Gets a Swamp. Fatal Pushes a Grazer. Sure. So I killed a bunch of things, but they're not really things we care about. We will get the World Tree and... I guess we wait on Cavern. Let's just take Colony Garden. Pass the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have enough mana for another Warp World. We're one short of Great Aurora. But that was a pretty good swing. Like, opponent, scoops it up. Well, that worked. That worked. Our opponent tried to grind us out, but unable to overcome the power of Warp World despite a lot of Kolaghan's commands. So, Acid Moss down. Maybe like trim a Grazer, trim a Tracker, a Golos, bring in 2 Bone Crushers, 2 Veil of Summers, and a Choke. I kind of want more of those. Maybe we go to Eternal Witness for a Bone Crusher, and a Grazer for Veil of Summer. Alright, let's try it like that. It does cut into our ramp a little bit, but the upside is we have more protection, and we can kill a Lurrus. Well, we'll keep. Opponent starts with a Bobble. Because there is a risk that our opponent just goes off with Lurrus. Cracks, takes a peek, Polluted Delta. Alright, not going to shuffle it away, so they wanted their top card. Well, we will Forest and Grazer. Put a Wooded Foils into play. Choke would be hilariously effective against our opponent's deck if we can find it. Watery Grave and Thought Scours us. Huh. Interesting decision. Bobble. Oh, I guess I had to because I wanted what was on top of their deck. Bobble, peeks, Polluted Delta, about it, passes, and draws a card. Well, crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Forest. Utopia Sprawl. On red. Windswept Heath, crack it. Get a Forest. Wood Elves. Get a Stomping Grounds. Alright, up to 5 mana here on turn 2, which is where we want to be. More than halfway to a Great Aurora. Steam Vents. Tapped. Opponent. Island. Would be sweet to get Tireless Tracker down and drawing us cards. Collective Brutality. Alright, so they get to kill our Wood Elves. Oh, we really just want to draw land here. Land for Tireless Tracker is what we really, really, really want. Fetch land especially. Well, you know what? We're going to stomp your face, play a Bone Crusher, and we're just going to try to beat you down, I guess. I guess that's where we're at. Opponent untaps. Polluted Delta. Opponent passing. Ooh, Veil of Summer's sweet. Well, go to combat. Attack ya. Play Tireless Tracker. Pass the turn. Leave up Veil of Summer. Kolaghan's Command. Well, let's Veil of Summer that. Yeah. Not this time, opponent. Not this time. Cracks Polluted Delta. I mean, this is not the Warp World win, but I guess it might be theoretically possible that we just play Tireless Trackers and Bone Crushers and get there. See what our opponent has. We're playing like an aggro deck at the moment, which is hilarious. I didn't know that was possible for this deck. Opponent passes. Wait, no, not passing. More Kolaghan's Commands. Well, we will discard the Wood Elves. Untap. Go to combat. Hit ya. Down to 5. Stomp ya. Bone Crusher. This puts our opponent in a tough spot because they need a Wrath. They can't kill the Bone Crushers with targeted removal or they die. So they actually need like a Damnation. And they can't take hits from the Bone Crushers so they die. And if they do have a Wrath, we can follow Pagolos. I guess they can like get Lurrus, play Lurrus, chump block with Lurrus, and draw an extra card, but that's not even that exciting. Wow, we kind of just like crushed this Lurrus deck. Opponent. Wow, another one. Alright. Well, sometimes you just draw your Bone Crushers from the sideboard and apparently win. Opponent. Tar Pit. And Snapcaster. Yeah, let's just Bone Crusher 3 on Tar Pit. Okay. Well, Game 1, we got to see the Warp World plan go off. Game 2, we brought in our Bone Crushers to deal with Luris, and we just happened to draw Bone Crusher Tron. Did not do anything big or splashy at all, but apparently Bone Crusher Tron is a reasonable Tron. Sweet. All right, against the odds time, we are trying to Great Aurora here in Modern. Takes a lot of mana. A bit of mana is required, but we need ramp. We got 2 Great Auroras though. If we find ramp, it could be good. Opponent's apparently playing aggro. Abash aggro. Opponent passes. So Wooded Foothills, crack Wooded Foothills. Get a forest. Play Arboreal Razor. Everyone's favorite. Ban it. Best card in history of Magic. All right, so we need like a prime time. Oh, kind of spicy. Have not seen too many Esoteric Caverns in Modern, like ever. I wonder if our opponent opened this in the promo pack and was like, yeah, that's probably good. Opponent. I mean, we're gonna block if you want to spend damage to kill a Grazer. We're pretty fine with that. That is max Grazer power. Put a land into play and eat some amount of damage. All right, opponent is a Bone Crusher Giant, sure. Well, come on, big ramp spells. Goloses, Primeval Titans. Can we count to 9 before our opponent kills us? Utopia Sprawl on red. Wooded Foothills. Go. Oh, so we're up to 4. We're not quite halfway there. Opponent. Mountain. Monastery Swift Spear. Yeah, this is a fast clock. Relic of Progenitus doesn't really do anything. Opponent goes attacking. I'll crack this. Get a Stomping Ground stepped. Oh, we really need to draw like a Golos this turn. Something along those lines, or we're just going to be too slow. Opponent. I mean, I guess we also lost the die roll to mono red, which is probably always going to make us too slow. Burst Lightning. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. 16. 10. Come on, Golos, please. Opponent exiles a card. Sure, you got us. Well, this is the worst, but we got to do it. So the good news is that keeps us from dying immediately. The bad news is opponent still has Bone Crusher, and that puts us off mana. So now we're a long ways away from doing anything good. Blood Moon, I'm glad you did that instead of Bone Crushing Giant. We actually do not care at all about Blood Moon. Not much, at least. I mean, I guess it's theoretically possible we don't get the 3rd green mana, but if we get to this Great Aurora, we're going to draw a ramp spell. Like, that is a TLDR. We need to draw a ramp spell. Please, 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 please. Opponent. There's a Bone Crusher. Well, come on, deck. Give us that Golos. Give us that Prime Time. Something that ramps us. More lands. Oh, my God. Well, pass the turn. All right, we want Prime Time now. If we draw Prime Time, we can win. We've just drawn all lands. All lands and no play. Opponent has a Lightning Bolt, so they can attack with their Bone Crusher. Hits us. Down to 6. Well, can we draw something this turn? Tireless Tracker is not the worst. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Sack the Clue, draw a card. Alright, more trackers. Oh, pass the turn. No bolts, please. Please, opponent. Opponent. 3 mana, Seasoned Pyromancer to draw new cards. Yeah, make some dorks. Plays a land. Goes to combat. Trades with tracker. Come on, deck. Prime time, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no. Oh, I messed that up. Ugh. Should have done it the other way so we got a clue. Opponent. Yeah, that was a punt. Opponent. Cycles a land untaps. Plays a mountain. 5 mana. Burst Lightning. Lethal. Well, I guess nothing we were going to do would matter anyway. Well, mono red, ain't what they need. We'll bring in 2 Coursers. We'll bring in 3 Bone Crushers. Go down Eternal Witness. Go down 2 Acid Mosses. Go down 1 Tracker. 1 Utopia Sprawl. 1 Golos. Run it like that. So close, and yet so very far. Well, we get to play first. I mean, we will keep this. Beseju go. Sadly, this Beseju is going to be very painful. Opponent plays a land and passes. Now, Wooded Foothills go. Opponent. Mountain. Alright, off to perhaps a bit of a slow start. Wait. Pyrite Spellbomb, sure. I'll crack this. Grab a forest. Untap. Play a forest. Spend some life. Play a Wood Elves. Get a Stomping Grounds tapped. Pass the turn. All right, we're off to a decent start here. Opponent, burst lightnings, that's fine. Opponent gets Abash, sure. Well, 1, 2, 3. Courser of Crewfix. Wooded Foothills, gain a life. And yeah, let's just pass for now. We are going to shuffle away the Grazer, but there isn't really any big reason to do it now. I mean, we're getting close. Opponent, Monastery Schwiftspiel, and a Lightning Bolt on Courser. Does our opponent just have a handful of Lightning Bolts? Oh, they're going to Pyrite Spellbomb. Okay. And, okay, or a Lava Dart. So opponent's just got all kinds of little shenanigans here. Well, crack this. Get a Stomping Grounds. Tapped. Gain a life. Land on top, so we're getting closer. We basically need 2 more lands. Opponent, Lava Darts, gets in for 3. Sure. Down to 15. 2 more lands for the Warp World. We're close, close, close. Opponent passes. Well, we will Bone Crusher Giant, the Swift Spear. We will Bone Crusher Giant, the Swift Spear. Drop to 12. Arboreal Grazer, Field of Ruin. Oh, can we get 2 more lands is the question. Opponent untaps, has a land. Boy, a Primeval Titan would be helpful. Opponent passes. Grazer. Oh, I hate Grazer so very much. Well, we will play a Bone Crusher Giant. And, yeah, Grazer, go. Boy, that is Grazer doing exactly what Grazer does. Pass the turn. Oh, Grazer. Well, now we're going to have an Abash with a Pyrite Spellbomb that deals a lot of damage on the battlefield. Opponent, Abash. So we could just die to random burn spells here, I guess. We draw Wood Elves. I mean, this gets us to 1 land away, but do we even live another turn is the question. And, oh, I'm not sure. Pass the turn. This feels like, if we do live, we're going to top deck Colony Garden. Feels like a Colony Garden kind of turn. Opponent, Adepts. Land. 2 cards in hand. Are they as amazing as they could be? Spellbomb. Kills our Bone Crusher. Okay, that's better than going at our face. We can chump block the Abash. Flame Slash. And then Seasoned Pyromancer to refuel. And a Bone Crusher. Well, that was quite the turn for our opponent. So we got to block. And we got to pray really hard that we top deck a land. Wood Elves. Alright, well, Wood Elves. Gets a Forest. Okay, well, the idea is we can chump block and then Warp World. It's not a great Warp World because so much of our stuff has died, but it is a Warp World, and who knows what will happen. Opponent, combat. I think we got a chump. Yeah, stay at 12. Opponent plays a land. Well, alright. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, down to 10. Uncounterable. Spit it to win it. And let's see who hits what. Opponent actually gets 1 more shot than we do. Thankfully, we have better cards to Warp World into than our opponent. So, Primeval Titan, Golos, Tireless Trackers, make a few clues. Alright, so opponent kills the Tireless Tracker. That is acceptable. We still get 4 clues. We still got Primeval Titan. We still get lands, which will be World Tree and Colony Garden. Golos, might as well get another Colony Garden. Because now our hope is to draw with these clues into another Warped World or Great Aurora, and that will hopefully seal the deal. Sack a clue, draw card. Cavern of Souls on, let's go Giant. And, alright, well, pass the turn. Worst case if our stuff lives, we get to spin Golos and try again. Opponent, land off the top. Well, sack a clue, draw a card. Stomping Grounds. Sack a clue, draw a card. Stomping Grounds. Well, we got the Stomping Grounds out of the way. Utopia Sprawl. Well, play Utopia Sprawl on red. Blue, black, white, spin Golos? Well, okay. Primeval Titan. I guess that's fine. Not quite the I win, but I guess we can do it this way. Colony Garden, Colony Garden. Make some plans. Utopia Sprawl on blue. Blast Zone. Attack you. Sure. Mountain Forest, I guess. Opponent takes it. And, I mean, I think we're going to win. I don't know if we're going to win with... Well, I mean, I guess we kind of won with Warp World, right? I mean, we did spin into all this stuff when we were about to die, so I think technically that counts. Opponent pillages. Alright, so that does stop our Golo spinning, which I guess means we either got to draw into Warp World or... Wow, alright. I guess we just draw all the Primeval Titans and kill our opponent the old-fashioned way. We wanted to do it the fun way, opponent, but that's on you. Oh, just kidding. Go to combat, attack, get some lands. Sure, fetch land, doesn't really matter. Fetch land, about it, takes it. Well, play the Stomping Grounds tapped, and let's have a tiny bit of fun. Warp World, sure, Giant. No, we will not pay the 2. No, we will not pay the 2. Any order. Keep a Golos. Primeval Titan, Primeval Titan. Coursers for days. I mean, this one, now it's over. There's no way. Opponent's down to 4 permanents. We're going to gain an absurd amount of life. And that's what our deck could do. Assuming Moto survives this huge stack of triggers, which apparently is not a given. Yeah. So Coursers, stacking up to gain a bit of life. Tracker's going to make a roughly infinite amount of clues here. More than we will ever need with 3 cards in our library. How is there still a land left in our library? Oh, we got 19 cards in our library. That makes more sense. All right, Colony Garden, Golos. And I mean, this should definitely, really, truly, for real do it. Stack it up, always yield, get some clues, many clues. Golos, sure. Get a Colony Garden, why not? Oh my god, Grazer. Get some more triggers, make some more clues. Golos. Well, we don't want the Grazer, so yes, we will search out a Colony Garden. Why not? The deck is so sweet when it goes off. Like, the go-off turns are just so spectacular. Warp World. No, we will not search with Golos. So get some clues. Gain some life with Courser. Primeval Titan, no. Primeval Titan, no. And, you know, we could just keep doing this, but we will be respectful. I mean, our opponent's at 2. Our opponent's at 2, we're at 28. They have no cards in hand. We could just draw Warp World and do it again, but I think for the sake of our opponent and being respectful, we'll just kill our opponent. Our opponent sat through all that when they didn't have to, so we'll attack with things that don't trigger to try to speed up the process. I mean, we could keep, opponent. Do we have to set clues now to send a message about blocking there? Well, we managed to do it even against mono red. Like, if we live long enough to cast a Warp World or a Great Aurora, we usually win. The challenge is, do we live long enough, especially against a deck like this that can be so aggro? Well, I mean, we could have went further. We could have went further looping, but you know what? This is actually where Abriel Grazer might be pretty decent. It blocks. We have lands to put into play. There's a Soulscar Mage. Ooh, and a Bone Crusher. Oh, play the land. Grazer 1. Wow, this is definitely Grazer's time to shine. Put a Mountain into play. Well, we're going to need a mid-game ramp spell, like a Golos or Prime Time. Opponent, Forgotten Cave. Alright, spends a spell killing the Grazer, which is fine. Opponent gets and hits us. Play Wooded Foothills, crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Forest. Utopia Sprawl. On red. Grazer. Put a Stomping Grounds into play. Bone Crusher. Stomp the Soulscar Mage. Well, we're out of cards, but we have enough mana that if we draw Primeval Titan or if we draw Golos, we can just cast it next turn on turn 3, which is absurd. Oh my god, they brought in Pillage. I take it all back. We cannot cast any of those sweet things anymore. Well, Colony Garden, Mega Plant, Bone Crusher, pass the turn. Yeah, that was a little 2-for-1 there with that Pillage. Mountain for our opponent. Jeez, another Pillage. Well, Blast Zone. Go to combat. Attack. Opponent. Passing. Oh, not even getting Abash. Well, go to combat. Attack. Okay, Stomps. What is this, double Stomp? Alright, so opponent's got Bone Crushers for days. Well, play the Forest. Pass the turn. Land. Bone Crusher. Well, let's take up our Blast Zone. Come on, Prime Time! That is Prime Time. That's exactly what we wanted. Like, exactly. Alright, things are looking up. Prime Time. We're still at 17, too. We will take Red. Alright, let's take World Tree and Colony Garden. Pass the turn. Oh, alright, now we're live. Now we're live for top decking Great Auroras, top decking Warp Worlds, and just putting this away. About it. Seasoned Pyromancer. Gonna try to draw some cards. A reasonable decision. I guess if they had double Lightning Bolt, they could kill Primeval Titan. Gets Abash. About it. Passes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, we will attack. That is what we wanted to draw. We will, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got enough lands. We will tutor out some lands. I think Colony Garden makes the most sense here. Get a couple plans. Wow, that was the top deck of the year. And that is a top deck that probably seals this deal. We're going to take down Mono Red Abash, which is kind of mind-blowing. Opponent's going to double block. That's fine. You can kill our Prime Time. But I have bad news, opponent. I have very bad news. Last time, Warp World was good enough, even with us being behind our opponent on permanence. This time, we are actually way ahead of our opponent on permanence, which should make it even better. Yeah, that was a lucky top deck, but we will not complain. Warp World, what do you say, friend? What do you say? 1, 2... 6 permanents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, we will not pay the life. Yes, we will get some triggers. Stuff goes in any order. Grazer, Colony Garden, Primeval Titan, Coursers for days. Yeah, that's probably good enough, I would say, to win this game. All right, so yes, we will get some clues. We will gain some life. We will Primeval Titan, get a couple more Colony Gardens. For next. Oh! Woo! Back on top! Back on top! That's Warp World number 2. Yeah. And we will just pass the turn, opponent. Your go. Your go. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Opponent plays a land. The opponent can see it coming, too. This is the real saw it coming. Is this Warp World sitting on top of the deck. Opponent. All right, we Abash. Opponent's going to give it the old college try, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we might as well sack a clue, draw a card. The second Warp World will really put this away. Crack the fetch, get a forest, gain a life, get a clue, crack the fetch, get a mountain, gain a life, get a clue. Untap, stomping grounds, tapped, gain a life, get a clue. Combat, get in with Primeval Titan. Get a couple more lands. Yeah, this one is going to be the good one. This is get the last Colony Garden. Get a World Tree, I guess. Yeah, this one, we really break this imagery. The second one is the one that gets you. The first one's good. The second one is game. I mean, our opponent can kill the Prime Time, but we don't really care because we're going to Warp World anyway. And this is more permanents on the battlefield. Opponent? Yeah, this time we have like 40 permanents, and our opponent has like a handful. So opponent trades. Yep, down to 8. Well, sorry, opponent. We will tap much of our mana and warp. Actually, I guess we float this mana too and Warp World. And yeah, that should do it. I can't believe we're beating Mono Red. No, we will not pay 2 life. Yes, we will get infinite triggers. I mean, this one is over. Any order. And opponent decides wisely not to sit through the stack. I mean, like, what do they do? What do they do? Our opponent, we're at 29, which is going to go up another 12 or something thanks to Courser triggers. We're going to make another 12 clues. We're going to get a bunch more ramp, a bunch more tokens. We got a Golos, which we can immediately spit if we want to, while our opponent has 3 lands and 2 Pyrite Spellbobs and 2 cards in hand. Like, that's what the deck does, and I will say, I cannot believe we did it against Mono Red. Like, that feels like one of the toughest matchups. We even did it against Mono Red in Game 3 with them being on the play and having double pillage and one of their pillages hitting a Utopia Sprawl land. So they blew up 3 sources of mana, were on the play, started with the 1-drop, got the Abash down, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. When the world warps and the Great Aurora comes... It just doesn't matter what your opponent's doing. Sweet. All right, against the odds time, we are Warping Worlds, Great Aurora, Ing, Wombo Combo, 2 for 1 this week on Against the Odds in Modern. And we're missing turn 1 ramp, but turn 3 ramp, hopefully into Golos, hopefully into Warp World, hopefully into win, maybe? We'll see. We'll see what our opponent is up to. I don't think we can not keep this hand, though. Like, having 1 mana ramp is ideal, but meh. What did Foothills go? 1 mana ramp next turn would still be fine. 4 is for our opponent. And, alright, opponent has the turn 1 ramp. We'll get a Stomping Grounds tapped. Well, that's kinda... I guess that's kinda turn 1 ramp. So we get up to 3 mana. This still means we're just Wood Elvesing next turn. Opponent, please don't blow up our lands. We need them. Alright, so opponent's got all the mana they could ever want. On white. Oh, this is probably Heliod combo. Well, I don't know if we're going to live long enough to get to Warp World. Opponent, collected company. Do they win the game? The good news is I don't think we lose to infinite mana. We do lose to Walking Ballista, which is coming next turn. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we're dead now. We draw a land. We get to... Yeah, we're just going to be too slow. Opponent had the dream start. Turn 2 Coco. I mean, that's why Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl is powerful. Well, we will Wood Elves. Get a Stomping Grounds tapped. Yeah, I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's just no way. I think we actually scoop, because there's no way we can stop this. Oh, they can win right now. All right, sure. Well, they just have infinite damage with Walking Ballista, so not really any point in continuing. We'll bring in the Bone Crushers. We'll go down what? I guess we can go down the Eternal Witness. Maybe like an Acid Moss, a Grazer, and a Tracker, maybe? Yeah, let's try it like that. I mean, I think we gotta have the Bone Crushers to answer the Arbor Elf start. Like, if our opponent's doing that on turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, we're probably Warp Worlding or Greater Roaring by then, which is fine. If they're doing it on turn 2, turn 3, which is what they had that game because of Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl, that's just real fast. Alright, we get to play first. Well, okay. Bad news is we have literally 0 ramp. Good news is we can kill an Arbor Elf. Really hope they don't just have like 3 Utopia Sprawls or something, which we can't kill at the moment. And I mean, we got the Warp World, so we have a payoff if we can get to it, and that payoff should win us the game, or spin our opponent into their infinite combo, which would be sad, but either way. Well, the good news is what happened last game won't happen this game because we got Bone Crushers, so boot it. Going to Mulligan, and Mulligan. Well, what happened last game definitely not happening this game if our opponent's going to 5. Well, odds are less likely. Alright, Colony Garden, boom, 0-1, go. Can you beat it? Boot it. In our perfect world, we would still draw a ramp. Because we still, I mean, goal number 1 is to get to this Warp World. The Bone Crusher just hopefully lets us live long enough to do it. Arbor Elf, well, Mountain, and... Yeah, I think we gotta stomp the Elf. The 2021 version of Bolt the Birds. Pass the turn. Boom. Sending a message. Opponent. Possible they kept 1 land Arbor Elf on the mulligan. Well, okay, they did not. Windswept Heath cracks it. Plains, and... Conclave Mentor. Well, that's Primeval Titan. That's ramp once we get to it, although when we get to it is, since we haven't drawn any other ramp, is still a bit away. And our opponent could go infinite thanks to this Conclave Mentor. So we need this turn a ramp spell to get to primetime a turn early, or there's a Heliod. Yeah, well, if our opponent also mulled to 5 and had the full combo, then I guess they win. Cavern of Souls. Well, Colony Garden. Yeah, not having any ramp spells has been a problem here. I guess we go attacking. Well, now we pray that they don't have a Walking Ballista, because if they do, we're dead. Land. Collected Company. Into Skyclave Apparition, Spike Feeder. So this makes an infinitely big Spike Feeder. Gains our opponent infinite life. Oh, this makes infinitely big everything, doesn't it? Yeah, fair enough. Well, even on 5 cards, our opponent's winning on turn 4. Fair enough. All right, against the odds time, we are warping worlds, Great Aurora-ing, putting it all together in Modern, and a little sad that we somehow don't have any early game ramp cards, but happy that we have Primeval Titan that's going to be uncounterable, assuming we live that long. And Primeval Titan finds us stuff, and hopefully that gets us to Warp World or Great Aurora. Basically the 2-for-1. Warp World and Great Aurora were the top 2 cards on last week's poll, and they kind of work together, so I figured, why not both? If this hand could replace like a Primeval Titan with a early game ramp spell, it would be, other than having like a payoff, it would be just about perfect. Alright, Forest and go. Rootbound Craig for our opponent. Well, Forest and go. If we don't draw anything and our opponent is playing tapped Rootbound Craigs, we might wait 1 turn on this Tireless Tracker. Could have the Bolt. If we wait a turn, we can play it on 4, get a clue, and yeah, still not doing anything. I mean, worst case, if we draw a ramp spell, we can just wait on the Tireless Tracker and ramp. Birds of Paradise. And pass. Well, okay. In that case, we're going to play Tireless Tracker. Since we have 2 Tireless Trackers, if our opponent bolts one, at least we get another one. In this way, if they don't bolt one, we can get 2 clues, and the clues are key. The clues do multiple things for our deck. They are extra permanents for Warp World and Great Aurora, and they let us draw through our deck with all of our mana to find our Great Auroras and Warp Worlds. So they are actually super important. Opponent loves their Rootbound Craigs. I feel our opponent's pain. Oh, no, opponent. No. Oh, I very much feel our opponent's face. or pain. Oh, yeah, Rootbound Craig, Arbor Elf, that's not the most ideal. Well, we will start tirelessly tracking. Still not really drawing lands, but we did find a Warp World. This is one of those games we talk about in Budget Magic. When you play like the Rootbound Craigs and stuff, I would not recommend playing them with Arbor Elf. That's too risky, even for me. Oh no, opponent. That's the worst Arbor Elf I've ever seen. But most games it works out fine. Then you have some games where it is very not fine, and those games are very sad. And this is one of those games for our opponent. We'll see what our opponent's doing. It's got to be like Panza or mid-range. Like, Mana Dorks and either land destruction or good mid-range threats is a pretty reasonable budget archetype. Little less so with the Arbor Elf plan. I think this is something I've actually run into. I don't know why I'm doing a deck building class here in Against Odds, which is about playing janky fun decks, but I run into this exact problem. I built this deck a bunch of times, and I always stop building it exactly because of this problem. Like, for Arbor Elf to work, you need so many forests, and to play a ton of forests and have your mana work, you really need Stomping Grounds, and oh no. Or better yet, fetch lands to get Stomping Grounds. So I have, like, started to try to build budget Panza, or Gruul midrange, exactly decks like this, and essentially just given up because I can't get enough forests to make Arbor Elf work, and we are, okay, sure. I mean, this is actually kind of fine. The only bad news is we're kind of killing our opponent, and I really want a Warp World. Oh my god, it's another one. Make some clues. You know what, we're gonna Warp World. We're gonna try to Warp World. Draw some cards, hit some lands. We're just gonna attack with 1. Because I really want a Warp World. Whoa, that is somehow that basic forest is probably our opponent's best draw, because that actually turns on all those Arbor Elves that were looking very bad a minute ago. Opponent, taps, untaps. What's the worst thing they can play? Like Inferno Titan? I guess Glorybringer is a little bit annoying, but I don't think it really matters. So I assume our opponent attacks Exerts, but I think we're going to get to Warp World. Yeah, attacks Exerts, kills a Tireless Tracker. We take it. Sure. Well, play the land. Get a clue. Play Primetime. Get 2 clues. Well, I guess that's annoying that we can't get Colony Gardens, but we'll attack. Opponent should probably chump here. Haha. Okay, this is good. Joke's on our opponent. We're not actually trying to kill you with creatures. That's just kind of happening accidentally. Don't scoop. The fun is about to happen. Opponent. Tapping, untapping, little pump fake. Oh, this is the moment before disaster. 5, 6, 7, 8. Taps, untaps. So we have 8 lands, 5 clues, 2 creatures. We can get at least 1 more clue. Oh, Chandra. All right. Does this Chandra kill Primeval Titan? We're like kind of okay with that because we still got this Warp World, which is going to be hilarious. Okay, they're going to kill Tireless Tracker. Well, that's fine. That means we get to attack with Primeval Titan to put more permanents on the battlefield. So play Windswept Heath. Go to combat. Attack Chandra. Put our opponent down a permanent. Get a couple lands to increase our permanent count. All right. Warp World 1 about to happen. And, all right, quick count. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17 permanents. Opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're basically double our opponent at the moment. Float all of our mana and spin it to win it. Spin it to win it. Warp your world. And let's see what happens now. So everything shuffles in. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, we can't crack our... that's super awkward. We don't have a place to put our Utopia Sprawl. That's a bit of a bummer. Oh my god, we have to attach it to our opponent's forest. We didn't have a choice. Whoa. Well, that's not exactly the plan. I mean, the good news is next turn's Warp World. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. That's going to be a good one. So we get a handful of triggers. Oh, next turn's Warp World is going to be absurd. Oh, don't scoop opponent. Enjoy the ride. Oh, it's going to be so... Here, let's just stack this Primeval Titan. All right, so we get a million clues. Many clues. Primeval Titan. Sure. Get a Colony Garden and a Fetch Land. Get some more clues. Oh, we're going to Warp World for our deck next turn, aren't we? Forest. Colony. Man. If we had hit one more untap source, we could have done this right now. Fetch Land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we have a mana floating. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Just kidding. Oh, this is going to be so good. Crack this. Forest. Oh, wow. This is going to be the best. This is what it's all for. Get a Forest. Warp World. Wait, do we mill ourselves? Is that how this ends? You know what? I don't care. Let's do it. You know what? I think we need something that gives haste, don't we? Because we lose... Wait, no, we're good. We're fine. I forgot because we have Great Aurora. So we're still good. Okay, we're good. We're fine. We're fine. I don't know what I was thinking there. I don't know why I was thinking we were going to die. We're not going to die. We'll keep a Golos. We will get a few triggers. Yeah, Warp World puts the cards... Oh, Moto. Hang on. This is for the best. What else do we have to stack? Oh, there's some Wood Elves. All right, Wood Elves. Oh my goodness, this is the worst. I mean, the best, but also the worst. We just want to stack our triggers, Moto. Please stack them. Moto does not like this deck right now. Wood Elves. If we can stack the Wood Elves, the Tireless Tracker should... Oh no, there's Colony Garden too. All right. If we can stack the unique... Oh, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, Moto said close to a client crash, and they are correct. We are holding on by a... Oh no, and there's too many triggers. We're trying. Turn to Witness, gets back Warp World, stack some trackers. This is the part of the adventures that you don't see, that they edit out. Like Rick and Morty's long walk down the steps. Oh my goodness. Abro Grazer, everyone's favorite. All right, we're making headway. All right, Golos. Arboreal Grazer. Golos. Okay. Moto did not die. Do we even want to do it again? Golos. No. Golos. We got no lands left anyway. No. Sure, Cavern of Souls. Get some more clues. Sure, Field of Ruin. Get some more clues. Golos, no. I mean, we probably gotta do it again, right? I don't know if I want to click through it again, though. Make some clues. Eternal Witness. Get back Warp World. Colony Garden. Always yield. Wood Elves, no. 2 Acid Moss, 2 Warp World, 2 Great Auroras. That is what's left. Tireless Tracker, gonna do its thing. I mean, is it impolite to do it one more time? Probably. But it's against the odds. We're not here to be polite. We're here to do the biggest, baddest thing possible. And that is Warp World number 3. One more, Moto. Come on. Come on, Moto. It'll be fine. The main upside is this keeps lowering our opponent's amount of permanents. Druid. No. And now we get to do this again. Hooray. Alright, more Utopia Sprawls. All of them. So we got our opponent down to 1 land. Down to a single land. Now we have to stack infinite triggers. Put our stuff at the bottom. Hilariously, I think we could keep doing this thanks to Golos, which I think we're just going to kill Moto. This might be a 1 match against odds because Moto cannot stand up to our awesomeness. Oh my god, this is so many tireless trackers. Well, so how's everyone's week been? What have you been up to since our last Against the Odds episode? Are you enjoying Strixhaven spoilers? How about them Yankees? Have I told you? Oh, I forgot to tell you this, I think. I know I made clear about finding Lord of the Rings tedious, but I forgot about baseball. Baseball, I think rivals. I feel bad for our opponent. Our opponent's a fan. And I feel bad that I'm making them sit through this. I mean, a little bad. Also very happy because this is exactly what our deck is wanting to do. I think we're gonna stop spinning though at this point and just win. All right, we're getting to the Wood Elves. The trick is if you only have one type of trigger left on the stack, Moto will auto stack it. But we have so many tireless tracker triggers, that we have a hard time getting through them all. You know what? We'll just get back a Wooded Foothills. We're not going to do it again to you, opponent. We could keep doing this. Like, in theory, we could do this basically forever. Because well, not forever, but we also have, I mean, maybe forever. Actually, I think we could just do it forever. Because now we have Golos. Oh, they spun back into the Blood Moon, so I guess we can't spin Golos. So that's good. I wasn't going to do it forever anyway. If our opponent didn't have Blood Moon, we would just World Tree Golos. We know our deck is 2 Great Auroras, 2 Warp Worlds. So we hit another one, do it again, hit another one, do it again. Eventually, our opponent's going to have literally nothing. Like, that is how this ends, is our opponent's going to have, like, 0 permanence, and we are going to have whatever's happening here at the moment. So we're not going to do it again. We could have just got back the Warp World and done it again, but I'm feeling a little bad that I've been doing this for like 15 minutes. Because that's our deck. It's the same 3 cards, the Acid Moss, the 2 Great Auroras, the 2 Warp Worlds. So we could keep doing this. All right, make some clues. Like, we can't lose here, right? We take 2 from Clothis. Primeval Titan, no. Primeval Titan, no. Primeval Titan, no. Oh, could we lose here? Is that possible? Draw some cards. I guess, like, double Lightning Bolt? Maybe we gotta keep going. Oh, well, okay. Well, let's get rid of that 1 land. Just in case our opponent had any thoughts of playing Magic next turn. Draw a card. No target. Are we just gonna call it? We can't lose, right? We're good. I guess we also gotta consider timing out, which is seeming realistic. There's Great Aurora. Well, I guess that finishes it. We are a Great Aurora deck. All right, one more. No, that's actually, let's not do that at the moment. You know what? We're just going to pass. Sure, your go, opponent. Good enough. Can you beat the board? That's it. We won't go any further. So, opponent, 0 lands. They do get to Clothis us. Each player shuffles all the cards from their hand, all their permanents they own, into their library, draws that many cards. Yeah, I think if we cast Great Aurora here, we definitely mill ourselves out, right? Because these clues are not going to go back. They're going to disappear. So I'm pretty sure that we die. Stomping Grounds. They really have a bolt? I mean, the good news is we just attack and win. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Great Aurora, this is kind of the awkward time for it. We've done too much Warp Worlding for Great Aurora to work here. Wow, that was a turn. That was a turn and a half. We started off the turn a little ahead of our opponent in permanents, but look how it ended up. 1, 2, 3. Opponent had 4 permanents. We have our deck on the battlefield, like literally our deck. And opponent scoops it up, and that was beautiful. That was exactly what this deck wants to be doing. Well, Bone Crusher Giants in to kill the Mana Dorks, I think. Go down. Eternal Witness. Go down a Utopia Sprawl, an Acid Moss, and let's go 3 Bone Crushers. All right, we're like that. Well, that's combo. Oh my goodness, the loops. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a turn. That was a decent turn. Pretty good turn. Oh, we could have kept going too if we wanted to and just really rubbed it in. Great Aurora is definitely sweet, but we do got to be a little careful with the clues. If we get too many clues going, it can actually just kill us. So we do got to be aware of the amount of clues we have on the battlefield. Normally, we're not going to have that many. I mean, that was 3 Warp World worth of clues when we were just putting our entire deck into play. Well, now we're the one that has a little bit of a non-bow with our ramp plan, but Birds of Paradise for our opponent. Forest, please? Well, what else will get us a forest eventually? Well, Colony Garden go. Opponent. Stomping Grounds. Untapped. And Utopia Sprawl. And Blood Moon would actually be bad for us here. Ooh, okay. Well, it's also not great for us. Stomping Grounds untapped. Utopia Sprawl. On green, go. Alright, no more of that. So opponent, I don't know if they're playing main deck Land Destruction or just sideboarded in, but that actually got us pretty good. Opponent. Glorybringer. That's going to be an issue. Hits us for a bunch. Yeah, Land Destruction spell is going to be very good for our opponent. Well, play a Mountain and Wood Elves. I mean, I guess we just got to try to ramp and hope we draw into a Warp World. We don't really have flyers. Opponent, land, and not another one. Oh, well, all right. Yeah, not beating that start. Well, on to game 3. Yeah. So, we're not built with killing Glorybringers in mind, are we? You know what, let's get on one more Utopia Sprawl. Go up one more Bone Crusher. Run it like that. Well, if there's good news, it's that we're on the play. That was a interestingly punishing hand for our opponent with a Land Destruction and double Glorybringer. Well, we get to play first. And, well, I guess we keep this. A little bit worried about the Land Destruction, I will admit. Also not excited about having to Utopia Sprawl at Stomping Grounds, but you do what you gotta do. Stomping Grounds, untapped. Utopia Sprawl on green. I mean, this does get us to the Wood Elves next turn. Opponent, untap land, Arbor Elf. Well, Field of Ruin, Wood Elves. Get a Forest. Pass the turn, I guess. Well, hopefully they don't have too much land destruction. Blowing up this Stomping Grounds is so rough. Opponent, Pump Fakes. We would like to keep drawing lands. Taps on taps. Okay. Well, we do draw land. So play Tireless Tracker. Wooded Foothills. Make a clue. Crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Forest. Make a clue. Sack a clue. I'll pass the turn. We will jump the Zocam Adversary with the Wood Elves. And then in theory, hopefully, Primeval Titan into Great Aurora. Alright, there's a bolt. About it. Yeah, we can't let him draw here. Gets it. Yeah. Untaps. Were they double bolting? Alright, well, sure. Alright, so opponent gets to draw a card. This does mean we get to play Primeval Titan, though, and that's going to make land destruction a little less frightening. Opponent passes. Cavern on Giant. Primeval Titan. Snag a couple of lands. Let's go World Tree and, you know what, actually, let's go Stomping Grounds. If we get a World Tree and our opponent blows it up, I mean, I guess if they blow up our lands, we're not going to have the red mana anyway. So if we draw land, we can Great Aurora. If we don't draw land, we can Warp World. So this is assuming our opponent does not have land destruction, which they might. Alright, so opponent blows up a land. Fighting the good fight. Wow, gonna go attacking. Sure. Well, draw a card. Well, no Warp World or Great Aurora this turn, although thankfully, another Great Aurora. Well, go to combat. Attack you. Get Colony Garden and World Tree. Make a plant. About it. Takes it. Crack a clue. Blast Zone. Arboreal Grazer. Well, okay. We should be set to do something sweet next turn. And our opponent already does not have that many permanents, so this should go well. Opponent hits the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess if they have another land destruction spell, the World Tree, then, and we don't draw land, we're still 1 mana short, which would be awkward. About it. Wow, okay. Finds another pillage. Well, now we need to draw land, or we gotta wait another turn. Opponent passes. Land? No. Well, go to combat. Attack with Primeval Titan. I mean, this is going to end with us getting our opponent. Primeval Titan just keeps putting lands into play, so... Colony Garden. Mountain. Make a plant. Opponent trades. That adversary did do some work. Well, 1, 2, 3. Wood Elves. Alright, next turn's the turn. Next turn's the turn. Even a pillage will not stop us now. Pass the turn. So opponent has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 cards. I guess we probably just Great Aurora. I mean, we're drawing twice as many cards as our opponent, despite them blowing up our lands. So the difference with Great Aurora kind of does the same thing, except it shuffles our graveyard in, both graveyards in, and we put all lands into play. but the rest of the cards stay in our hand. But then because we're putting all the lands into play, theoretically we can cast those cards. So very similar to Warp World, except Warp World lets everyone put essentially everything into play. About it. Are you going to pillage us again? All right, untaps. I can't imagine they have a card that gets them out of this. It is Chandra. Chandra's good. Ooh, hits big Chandra. Well, we take 2. But it is time. The Great Aurora is here. About it. Passes. Well, happy fun time. Float all of our mana. Great Aurora. And, let's see what happens. Shuffle them in, draw some cards. And about it. So that's enough. All lands into play, please. Whoa, we did not hit that many lands, did we? Oh, there they are. Okay, we're good. So put our lands into play. Sure, name Giant. Yes, we'll pay the 2. Yes, we'll make a token. Yes, we will play Primeval. Can we Warp World? Oh, we have enough mana to Warp World, don't we? Do we have red? We do. Well, okay. Let's just do that then. Warp World. I mean, opponent's only shuffling in 3. Yes, give us that mana. Your turn. Your turn, opponent. To be forced to make some painful, painful choices with your Utopia Sprawl. I've never seen someone enchant their opponent's land with the Utopia Sprawl before, and now it's happened twice. We had to do it once, and now our opponents had to do it once. Just Warp World things, I guess. Oh, thank you, opponent. All right. Nothing to put into play. Nothing to put... We did not actually hit that many lands either this time. Well, let's crack this. Stomping Grounds, untapped. Stomp the Arbor Elf. We are down to 6. That is not the highest life total I've ever seen. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks. Well, we will block. And opponent passes. Well, let's Wood Elves. Get a Forest. And we will just pass. I don't think we want to pay life with this Beseiju. I think the main way we lose is by getting bolted. Opponent has a Forest and an Arbor Elf. Goes to combat. Attacks. We will block. Untap. Well, let's blow up the Forest. Get a Forest. Colony Garden. Pass the turn. We do need to kill our opponent before they bolt us to death. It hit lands with this Rada. Oh, that's red mana. I'm a little afraid. A little afraid of the red mana. Could use a Warp World. Opponent goes attacking. Well, we will block. Oh, if this ends, they've already used 2 bolts. The odds gotta be low. Opponent discards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, play Golos. Get a Colony Garden. Play a Mountain. Bone Crusher Giant. Pass the turn. Opponent adapts. Unfortunately, our World Tree's in the graveyard, so we can't spin Golos. Alright, Stomping Grounds. Kind of like drawing 2 lands with this Arbor Elf out. Opponent goes attacking. Well, we will block Urata. What is happening? Okay. Well, Golos down. That's fine, though. We're not dead. We take 0. Opponent's also down to 4. We don't have a Bolt, though, or even a Gut Shot. Put it untaps. Another Arbor Elf. I'll go to combat. Get in with Crushy. Opponent blocks. Well, 1, 2, 3. Tireless Tracker. Primeval Titan. Wow, what a crazy game. We will take Colony Garden and Colony Garden. Make a couple clues, get a couple plants. Pass the turn. Are we good? Are we good? No bolts, no bolts, no bolts, no bolts. We got blockers for creatures, so we're not going to die to creatures here. Mostly just worried about lightning bolts. About it. The real question is, if we top deck a Warp World, do we cast it or do we attack for lethal? Well, likely lethal. That is the real question. That second Warp World wasn't very good, actually. Maybe that kind of worked out relatively okay for our opponent, and we didn't have that many lands, so that was actually, I don't know, maybe we should have not cast this Warp World after the Great Aurora? I mean, I think we're still going to win the game in ridiculous fashion. Birds of Paradise, certainly. Arbor Elf. We draw Wood Elves. Well, let's crack a clue. Draw Utopia Sprawl. Well, crack a clue. Draw Wood Elves. Well, play Wood Elves. I don't think we actually have straight up lethal here. Get a Forest. Get a clue. Wood Elves. Play it for us, get a clue. Because I think our opponent can chump enough that we don't just win. Go to combat. Attack, attack, attack. Sure, might as well. Field of Ruin and Blast Zone. I mean, we still have Warp Worlds and Great Auroras in our deck. Get clues. So if our opponent blocks Primeval Titan, blocks. Yeah, I mean, they can stay alive. They have to chump away essentially their entire board. Blocks. Yeah. Drops to 2. Well, we will Utopia Sprawl on red. All right, pass the turn. Come on, no 2 bolts. No 2 bolts about it. That would be heartbreaking. Pup fakes. Adapts. If you want a Blood Moon or pillage us, Clothes. Oh, we got there. What a match for Great Aurora and Warp World. Well, we're going to do the polite thing, I think, and just attack. Opponent gives us the GGs. Well, we will prove them right for the GGs with a big attack. Well, that's a taste of what the deck can do. That is the shenanigans. Game 1 was the absurdist. Abriel Grazer, you stay back. Who knows? Who knows what could go wrong? I don't think it's possible anything goes wrong here, but, well, yeah, that's what Warp World and Great Aurora could do. I mean, it took us an hour, and we got our workout for the day with clicking, but that was pretty sweet. That was super sweet. Yeah, we won't even bother. Our opponent's been super nice to sit through all these shenanigans, and yeah, that was beautiful. Well, that's Warp World and friends. Sweet. So what do we learn this week about Warped Aurora? And overall for our video matches, we went 3-1, although it was actually 3-2. There was another control match, and it was another hour-long match where we lost the match 1-2. We had one really good game where we went off with our Warped Worlds and our Great Auroras. The other two was just like countering all of our stuff for an hour while our opponent beat down with like Snapcasters and swords and so forth. So that one mostly got cut for time purposes. We already had an hour-long match, and then another hour-long match would just make the video way too long. So only 4 matches of the video, 3-2 overall, which actually a pretty reasonable record for a really janky deck with, I don't know, 6-8 mana plus sorceries in it. But the deck is spectacular when it goes off, and we got to see it go off a bunch of times, and it did exactly what we wanted to. Like, it is a really sweet strategy. Of course, the drawback is, if we don't get up to 8 mana, or we don't have counter protection, our opponent can deal with our big expensive sorceries, and our deck kind of doesn't do that much, but our deck is really good at ramping quickly. We got some backup plans with like Golos spinning into our Warp Worlds or whatever, and once we get the loop going, it is absurd. We saw some of the best games where like Warp World into Tireless Tracker, make a bunch of clues, and then Warp World again, make a bunch of clues, or even like Great Aurora, draw a bunch of cards into Warp World, into Tireless Tracker, and a bunch of stuff, and a bunch of clues, into Warp World, and eventually the end result is we're just like putting our entire deck on the battlefield for 8 mana or 9 mana, while our opponent, they're getting less and less permanents every time we go through the loop. Our opponent's eventually down to like a land and a random creature they spun into, while we just have a board full of clues and trackers and wood elves and goloses and primeval titans. So the deck's a blast. I mean, it's more competitive than I would think. Of course, it's still built around 8 and 9 mana sorceries, which probably means it's not like super duper competitive, but you can certainly win with it, and it does some spectacular things. If you like big turns, combo-y, splashy, Timmy type stuff going on, this deck is going to do it probably better than basically any deck in Modern. So I love this deck. Win or lose, if you lose, you kind of get blown out most of the time. If you win, you're going to have 10-minute combo turns where you're just like churning through your entire deck, and it is amazing. So that is Warped Aurora, Warp World, the Great Aurora, together at last. That's been our Against the Odds for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Did you enjoy today's Against the Odds deck? Well, make sure to check out last week's episode where we comboed Tergrid, God of Fright with Death Cloud and other mass sacrifice effects.